Welcome, Governor Kim. It's such a pleasure to be here in Gyeonggi-do to meet with you. It's my pleasure today on behalf of the Korea Society to have a chance to talk with you as part of our leadership series to bring to an American audience mainly, but we hope through the world, a little bit more insight and knowledge into U.S.-Korea relations and also into Korea. And what a great place to come to do that, to come to the capital of Gyeonggi-do, the capital of Gyeonggi Province, and to meet with you. I want to introduce for our audience just briefly the governor. Governor Kim Dong Yeon was elected as governor of Gyeonggi Province last July, July 2022, and what I understand was a very close and lively election. He has been a very busy governor since that time. He came to the governorship after a very distinguished and long career as a public servant, over 3 decades, working primarily in the area of economy and finance, in the Ministry of Economy and Finance, culminating with him being both the Minister of Economy and Finance for the whole Republic of Korea, as well as the Deputy Prime Minister. And before that, as we were talking earlier, when we've had a chance to meet, over the years, you've been involved in, obviously, the Republic of Korea's incredible story, its journey of economic development, of democratization, of building ties, not just with the United States, but throughout the world. So we really are honored to have you here today. And of course, we're very proud of the fact that you have a special association with the United States, where you were a Fulbright scholar,
Yes.
one of our most prestigious, in fact, I think our most prestigious scholarship program for the most distinguished scholars from abroad. And of course, you have your, I think, your master's and your PhD from the University of Michigan.
Go blue.
Okay. So there's a lot more to it, and I think we'll get into it, but I don't want, I think our audience wants to hear from you, not from me. And so I wanted to, again, thank you for your time. And maybe start, though, with a little bit
Sure.
of talking about Gyeonggi itself,
Yes,
this extraordinary province, which for our listeners, I had to remind myself of all this, is the most populous province in Korea with over 13 million citizens resident
14.
here. 14
million, yes.
That's great. Still growing, that's good. That has to make you, and I know it does, one of the busiest people in Korea. But you know, Gyeonggi Province, everyone knows about Seoul. Gyeonggi, some people have not heard so much of, but of course it has its own provincial government. And Gyeonggi itself means, originally I think in Chinese characters, surrounding the capital. So a very unique identity of surrounding the very large city of Seoul, but having an even larger population than Seoul. But just tell me, what do you see as some of the main challenges of being in such a unique province?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for a wonderful introduction. I must be humbled. And it is a great pleasure and honor to see you again and to join this Korea Society Leadership Interview Series. It's been 6 months when we met in Annandale, Virginia last time. So Kathleen is really good, and thank you for coming my office. Well, for the American audience, Madam Ambassador Kathleen Stevenson has Korean name, Shim Eun-kyung. So if I say, if I call you by your first name is Kathleen or Eun-kyung-si.
Either way,
Right.
either way.
Okay, so it's really a pleasure to see you again. Well, let me briefly introduce Gyeonggi Province. The name of Gyeonggi Province, first appeared in 2018, so more than 10,000 years ago.
More than 1,000 years ago.
Yes, the
right?
name of
Yeah.
our province, was made more than 10,000 years. Pretty much older than Washington, D.C.
Yes, yes.
So, Gyeonggi Province, as you said, the largest province in Korea. Its population is 28 or more than a quarter of the whole country's population. Well, let me put this way. The population of Gyeonggi Province of the Korea is like the total of the population of the California, Texas, and New York combined. The proportionally. So it's a biggest and largest province of Korea. So very naturally, Gyeonggi Province account more than a quarter for every aspect: economy, industry, R&D, and investment. More than that, Gyeonggi Province has very growing advanced industries. So I would say Gyeonggi Province is heart of the economy and industry of Korea. So if you the large companies of Korea, you know every companies they are in Gyeonggi Province. Samsung, Hyundai, Kia, SK Hynix, everything you name it. So Gyeonggi Province is the really hub and heart of the Korea's industry and economy. Politically, I think the Gyeonggi Province is very important because, as you may know, there are some regional support for a particular, political party, like the conservative or progressive. However, Gyeonggi Province is there is no fixed the supporting party preference in Gyeonggi Province. So always Gyeonggi Province, along with the Seoul, is the core factors to determine, say, the president in the presidential election or in general elections. So this is the Gyeonggi Province.
Yes, so central, so important. And I first lived in Korea in the 1970s in Chungcheongnam-do, and I think you were born in Chungcheongbuk-do.
Yes, right.
But and I've noticed, of course, starting then and even before, people were beginning to move into Gyeonggi Province and I guess that's continued for all the opportunities, the economic opportunities here. So it really is a very diverse population in terms of coming from so many parts of the country. It also strikes me that Gyeonggi Province, in addition to its proximity around Seoul, has a very important and in some ways rather challenging geographical and even geopolitical situation. I know Gyeonggi has a long coastline along the West Sea, and of course it's situated, as Korea is, right in the middle of Northeast Asia. But I wonder how you see Gyeonggi as a logistics hub, and what you see as some of the opportunities that Gyeonggi has, in certainly with respect to China, but also elsewhere. But also maybe what are some of the challenges of that?
Yes, we have. Well, many people say that Gyeonggi Province is the small Korea. What the Gyeonggi Province has, what Korea has. So Gyeonggi Province has everything Korea has. It means Gyeonggi Province has both really good things and the challenges Korea has. So you may guess that the problem of Korea is almost exactly the same Gyeonggi Province has. So first of all, the first one is the economy. So right now, Korea has facing some difficulties in the area of the economy. So high interest rate, soaring prices, and growing global uncertainty, and many other things So we are facing sort of the challenges in the area of the economy. So one of the big issues I am taking is how we can vitalize the economy of Gyeonggi Province. And second challenge is growing disparity and inequality. This lead to many other problems and hurt our growth potential. And another thing I would say is how we can face the future challenges, particularly, for example, climate change. So this is not just Gyeonggi Province work, the Korea's problems, but the global issues. Gyeonggi Province is a pioneer in this area. Although whole local government and even central government of Korea. So this is one of the challenges I am pay really big attention to. And if I add one more thing, I would say democracy. These days, modern democracy is threatened by elected legal powers. I think in that sense, Korea has similar problem. So I would say how we can set up the real modern good democracies in the political arena, even in Gyeonggi Province. We have the Providential Assembly. So, and the number of the ruling party and opposition parties are exactly the same.
Really?
Yes, it's 78 to 78. So in this situation, I would say, democracy, how we can revive the good democracy in Gyeonggi Province. This is one of the challenges I think we have.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about this because it reminds me of what I sometimes hear from governors of American states, and I know you've met a number of them yourselves in terms of the provincial or state level being, especially with all of the different challenges you've described, but at the provincial or state level, being a kind of, you said a pioneer, but kind of a laboratory for for good ideas.
That's right.
That can have a lot of relevance not only at the national level but also at the international level.
That's right, Kathleen. Gyeonggi-do is really a good model in the area of the many policies to the central government and many local government. For example, these days our central government, is pursuing sort of the shrinked, the fiscal policies. I think that's not desirable. On the contrary, to the central government, we are emphasized on playing more, playing greater role. I mean, the public policy should be playing a more crucial or positive role in, the boosting our economy. So that's the one example how Gyeonggi Province is on the different line with the central government. We have some other examples too. For example, climate change and government subsidy for the NGO. All these kind of stuffs Central government is very much is not very much active or active. However, Gyeonggi Province is most actively mobilized our resources to support our measurement to face the climate change or positive role of the fiscal policy in vitalizing our economy and more assistance to the NGOs or civil society. So those kind of things are the good example. The Gyeonggi Province could be a good model to pioneer the central government and other local government.
Yeah, very interesting examples in a wide range of areas. I want to turn for a moment to, or maybe more than a moment, to Gyeonggi's and your own kind of relationships with the United States, because that's also, as you suggested, I mean, very much at the center of Gyeonggi's identity. I know that Gyeonggi, and I don't know what the entire list is, but Gyeonggi has sister state relationships, and that you've been very active in forging new relationships. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about how those sister state relations work, or other ways in which you found it useful to engage with, in particular, American governors, but maybe elsewhere as well?
Sure, 은경 씨. Let me first briefly say about the U.S.-Korea relationship. The Korea-U.S. alliance has been the linchpin of South Korea's success in terms of the security and economy. So I think it is so now, and it will continue to be in the future. So in the central government level, in our diplomatic directions or relationships, the U.S. is the most important our alliance in terms of the security, economy, and many other things. Well, as the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Korea, I have had my biggest priority, which lies in the cooperation with the United States. So I used to meet the U.S. Treasury very often. We sometimes have a dialogue over the phone, over the cellular phone. And one day we met together in Buenos Aires, Argentina, to participate in G20 summit meeting or finance minister meeting. So first day we had the bilateral meeting together between myself as the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, and then Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin.
Yeah.
So in the early mornings, around 9 o'clock when we dismissed, I suggested, Stephen, how about having a glass of beer together after everything is over tonight? So he was very gladly to accept my proposal, and we had we drank together with beer and some wines, maybe 10 p.m. So we talk about the family, hobby, and of course some businesses. So that kind of stuff. So I have worked to maintain really good formal and informal relationship with my partners, my counterpart of the United States. And I have worked at the World Bank in Washington, D.C. for 3 years, early 20s. So that's the
when
one
you were in your early 20s.
yes,
right?
early
Okay,
20s in Washington D.C.
Mhm.
And in the time I was the senior staff at the World Bank and also senior visiting fellow at the Johns Hopkins SAIS,
Right.
which is in Washington D.C. So those kind of things, played a really good, was the really good opportunity for me to exchange our views and concrete our relationship. As the governor of the Gyeonggi Province, U.S. partnership is the most important thing out of the whole, our external relationships. This April, the last April and early May, I visited Michigan, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Virginia, and I met some of the governors and CEOs of the multinational enterprises to have the really good relationship. And I also induced huge amount of the investment into Gyeonggi province too. So in sum, as the governor of the Gyeonggi province, as I said, our relationship with the U.S. is the most important thing in terms of our external cooperation, not just in the area of the economy, but also, everything including cultural, mutual personal exchange, tourism, sports, and so forth, so on.
Yeah, thank you for that overview. And I do recall when you were, when we had a chance to meet in April, when you were visiting the United States, you were still relatively new in office then, I guess. Less than a year, but you were very focused on the attracting some foreign direct investment, and that was at a time which continues when there's a lot of Korean investment going into the U.S. But it's good to hear that you found a lot of success in attracting some American investment to come to Gyeonggi, and I certainly agree with you about the importance of building those relationships over time to make that sustainable and successful. With all that, and I agree with you about the importance of the kind of diversification of the U.S.-Korea relationship to making it as strong and as resilient and as broadly supported in both countries as it is now. There's also the traditional kind of foundation of the modern relationship between the Republic of Korea and the United States, and that, of course, is a security relationship. And it's striking to me that that Gyeonggi Province now plays an even more important role in that than it did previously. And of course, what I'm referring to is the move and consolidation of U.S. Forces Korea, as well as Combined Forces Command and the UN Command, from Seoul and some other areas, but primarily from Seoul, to what is now this purpose-built, with great support from the Korean government, but this, I'm sure you were involved in that when you were in the central government, but this purpose-built facility called Camp Humphreys in Gyeonggi, near Pyeongtaek, near that big port we were referring to earlier. And I think Camp Humphreys, and again, I know you know this, so I'm kind of saying this for our audience because I'm always struck when I say it myself, is now the largest U.S. overseas military installation anywhere in the world.
Right, outside of the mainland of.
Which is pretty extraordinary, and it's in your province.
So,
yes. And again, I think and we do have a wonderful relationship at the people-to-people level as well as at the government level, but that doesn't happen by accident. And any large presence like that, military installations in the U.S. as well, always are something that need to be managed carefully and nurtured. So I'm interested because that whole move has just taken place over the last year or so to have been completed. What have been some of the challenges of it, and even more important, what do you see as the important issues or opportunities going forward?
Well, as we said, our relationship with U.S. is the most important one, out of our Korea's external, the relationship in terms of particularly, security and national defense. Gyeonggi Province is, in that sense, very, important. I mean, more than half of the Korea's defense power is in Gyeonggi Province. And more than 85, I think, % of the U.S. force of Korea is in Gyeonggi Province. Camp Humphrey is really unique, the camp, as you said, the largest, U.S. The force outside of the United States, the mainland. Last spring, I invited the commander of the 8th Army, who is in charge of the Camp Humphrey, to our Korea Professional Baseball opening day. Oh. I invited him and his wife, along with the U.S. ambassador to Korea. So we watched the whole game from the beginning to the end, more than 3 hours, and we talked about a lot of things. Well, we became friends. Yeah. And the commander of the 8th Army invited me to the Camp Humphrey in September. I had a really good time there. And, having USFK here, like the Camp Humphrey, means our, security safeguarded, more opportunities for our local economy, and more opportunities for social and cultural exchange. There are a lot of good things. Well, there may be some minor issues sometimes. However, we were collaborating very closely. For example, through the MOU between the 8th Army and Gyeonggi Province. Well, the men and women in uniform and their families are our neighbors and friends, and even family to all of us. At the Camp Humphrey, when I visit there, I met several officials, requested by the commander, which was not planned. And I delivered my short speech to them. And my wrap-up remarks was that although you cannot vote for me, you are all my fellow Gyeonggi Province residents. Oh, that's our spirit. Well, to help them settle in local community, we offer, language classes, cultural experience, and many other programs. So I think this is the way. Well, the Camp Humphrey and USFK has been playing in a really wonderful role in enhancing our two countries, ties and cooperation in every aspect: economy, society, education, mutual understanding, everything. So I appreciate that, and I will do my best to support my Camp Humphrey families as our Gyeonggi Province, residents.
That's a terrific message, and I think a very important one. I mean, I know from my own experience over the years in meeting Americans who have served in the military in Korea that, many of them come here as young people, much as I did in a different capacity, but many of them come as young people, and it has a transformative effect on them. Right. But they benefit more when they do feel they can get out and about and learn something about the country they're in. So the fact that you have established this relationship not only at the very top but with your with the staff at Camp Humphreys, I think is very important because it's a big place.
Yes,
and and being proactive and encouraging this kind of interchange is really, really important. And I'm a big believer in sports diplomacy.
Yes.
So sports and baseball games is a great place to start.
That's right. Well, in the camp, you know, there is some downtowns, exactly the same to you know the traditional American city, like Ann Arbor, which I lived for about 4 years, or say you know the Washington D.C. Well, I lived in Potomac, Maryland, when I worked at the World Bank. So that you know the town like the Rockville or Potomac, that kind of stuff. So I smell some of the flavor of the hometown there.
Yeah, it's great. It's nice. So maybe if you can enjoy that as well, that's another benefit.
Well, the commander said that, Mr. Governor, please come anytime you want. So I have his word. I have a rain check from him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. I'm really pleased to hear that. And I have to say there is so much to see and do in Gyeonggi. I mean, whether one's interest is tourism or food or history or whatever, there's a lot. So I think with the kind of partnership you have, those opportunities will be more evident to people.
This is the heart and hospitality of the whole Gyeonggi Province residents for Camp Humphreys, you know, family.
Yeah, that's terrific. It's great to hear. I want to turn. I have so many things I'd like to talk with you, and I know your time is. You're being very generous with your time. But one thing I didn't mention at the beginning was that in addition to your very distinguished career in government, and especially in the Ministry of Economy and Finance and as Deputy Prime Minister, you served as president of a university here in Korea, Ajou University.
Right.
And I know Ajou well. It's a very innovative university. But I know education policy in Korea is probably one of the most challenging things to be involved in because Koreans do care so much about education. It's so competitive. It's so challenging. And I know you had a few initiatives. I'm going to mention a couple because I wanted to hear a little bit more. You introduced something which I think was new to Korea called the Paran, meaning blue semester.
Yes, Paran, yes.
So empowering students to design their own studies a bit more.
Right.
I'd love to hear a bit more about that. And another one, the After You program, to try to help students of lesser financial means have more opportunities. Which again, as you mentioned already, the issue of inequality is one that's felt, and I hear it myself in my own country, but also here. Could you tell us a little bit about? I mean, well, one, I'm kind of what made you decide to be president of a university after all the other things you've done, and how did these programs work out?
Sure. Thank you. Well. Before I take you know that question, I briefly explain my experience in my education in the States. You know when I studied at the graduate school of the Michigan, well. I had a really big momentum there. You know, I studied very hard. I got a really good GPA. However, one day, I think that's the beginning of my third semester at the university. One question, I had one question which I couldn't answer. That was why I study. I couldn't find the answer. Well, the simple question is to get my PhD degree. However, that was not the answer. You know, I solved my own problems. So I thought of my career. In that time, I was the young government official. I got the Korean government long-term fellowship and Fulbright scholarship. I found very, very awkward thing. How do I express? Well, in the time I thought that I don't know what I exactly wanted to, what I wanted to. The career I have taken is not what I want to, but what the society or the many people wanted to do. That was the really big shock to me. So what I'm going to then, well, is this if I follow what the others wanted to do, is this my life or others' life? That was a big question to me in that time. So that was one of the big momentum of my life. So when I was the president of the Ajou University, or even the director of the National Budget Office, like the director of the OMB in the States, I would like to let my young people find out what really they wanted to do, not the society want them to do. So that's the my thought to make the program like Paran or the Blue Semester. With that program, students can suggest something they wanted to study or something they wanted to do as to be the class. So if that content is creative or self-driving, we made that kind of things as the regular, class. So gave them credit, scholarship, and many other support. So for the first semester, more than 60 classes were created. At first, many professors worried about those kind of the trial. However, after the semester, they were so surprised at knowing, how they did in the semester. That, the subject, which the professor or other, the teaching staff has never thought. So that kind of things. As a governor of the Gyeonggi Province, I also want our young people to the same thing, find out what they wanted to do. After your program is for the social enhancement of the social mobility. So as the president of the Ajou University, we select 150 students a year to send them 5 universities abroad, 3 in the States, 2 in China. So University of Michigan, University of Washington, and Johns Hopkins University.
All great universities.
Yeah, all great universities. And we provide them with the scholarship and some guidance. And I want, as the president of the university, the biggest difference between, say, the students from the rich family and the students for the poor family is whether they have some opportunities to have some experience overseas.
Right.
So this is the biggest one. So I want to solve them problem to give them some opportunity of the social mobility. So once they came back from that experience, I saw them, the great changes. So I do exactly the same project as the Governor of Gyeonggi Province too. This year we sent number of 100 young people to overseas to experience something new, eye-opening experience, and also gave them some opportunity of the social mobility.
Yeah.
So those kind of things.
Yeah, and so that's been adopted by the national government as well.
That's right.
And these are undergraduates, right? These are, or
Well,
sometimes recent.
As the President of the Ajou University, that's for the undergraduate students.
Yeah.
In that time, not just the Ajou University students, but also other university students too. I invited them. So 20% of the whole students to get that opportunity were from other universities than the Ajou University.
Yeah.
And Gyeonggi Province program for the young people, there is no limitation. I mean, college students or junior college, students, or high school graduate too. So there is no, the guideline or criteria to be selected. So whatever, the school or university or high school you graduate, it doesn't matter. So anyone of the young people in Gyeonggi Province can be benefited.
That's wonderful. I mean, I think with that you're addressing, if I may say, two issues that have troubled me about Korea over the years. I mean, as you know, education has always been so important here, but as Korea has become wealthier, I think Korean families have just become, more ambitious, and the students more competitive. And I would see young students when they start university, as you say, they're kind of exhausted from the process of just getting into university. So the idea, I like the idea of a blue, I think of blue skies to kind of open up a little bit, and someone actually ask you, what is it you want to do?
That's right.
It's great that you thought about that, but you were already a PhD student. It's good if these students can think about it when they're just starting out, and then have an opportunity to widen their views a little bit younger and get some opportunities. I think that's very transformative.
Well, Kathleen, I was the first one in our family to get the middle school education.
Is that right?
Yes. my father and mom, or grandfather and mom, they didn't graduate from
middle school.
Middle school.
Wow. Yeah.
Even no schooling.
Yeah.
So I am the first family member to get the middle school education. So I know the importance of the education, particularly for the underprivileged, the young people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one good way to have the sustainability of the society. I'm a big believer in that.
Well, you are an very important and inspiring example, because I do see, and I see it honestly in my own country as well, but I see in Korea young people getting discouraged. And in some ways, I think sometimes we, the older generation, look and say, you have so much more than your parents or your grandparents have. Why are you discouraged? But they feel that they're trapped in this sense of inequality and of not being able to get ahead unless you have special advantage.
That's
right. Reaching those young people and providing that helping hand is critical.
That's right, Kathleen. I would say, I may put this way. Well, this is a sort of the American dream. So that kind of the old, the spirit of the American dream, which is the equivalent to Paranakyo after program.
Yeah.
Well, I am I don't know whether this is right or wrong, but I am pretty much sorry about fading away of the American dream in the States right now, even these days. So Jeremy Rifkin once said that the European dream is more is better than the American dream in his book European Dream.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
well, I mean, some of the data on inequality in the United States is very worrisome. It's very worrisome, and I think, and I know you've met with a number of governors and other, as well as other officials, and I think they are also are looking for ideas about how to, not just encourage in a sort of a rhetorical sense, but how to give to younger people a sense that there's a way forward.
That's right.
And that the world is not always kind of stacked against them. So your advice to Americans too, I think, would be helpful on how to achieve the American dream.
Well, I can more advice from the American cases, but I don't know whether this kind of the expression is in the States. But whatever spoon color you took at your birth, it shouldn't be a matter for the young people to his or her life. So that's the one good way I am pursuing as the governor of the Gyeonggi Province.
Yeah, and in your own life, you exemplify that, and now as a political leader, you have in a sense a burden to think about the policies and. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the same in my own country too. How do we encourage this next generation?
I was very fortunate. I mean, I would say that's the disguised blessing to me. So that kind of difficulties and challenges in my youth, that became the great asset for me. So what I am.
Well, I have so enjoyed seeing you again, and I'm very grateful that you've shared this time, not just with me, but with our audience, who I think is going to find this really interesting in the sense of not only reinforcing how important the relationship between our two countries is, but even more the ways in which we really do have shared challenges as well as a lot that we are benefiting from by the relationship we have. And I thank you for all the time that you spend, not just with me, but again, sort of strengthening the relationship and really strengthening not just Gyeonggi's place in the world, but Korea's. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Is it that short?
It's that short. We've taken an hour, but I didn't ask you. You said something about I confess I don't follow American football, but I'm always impressed when someone who's not an American finds American football. So you became a fan.
Well, actually, every Thanksgiving holiday, I used to watch the Michigan and Ohio State University game
classic.
Every year. So in Korean time, that game used to be held in the early morning, say 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. I have never missed that game.
Is that right?
And thank you, Kathleen and Eun-kyung-si, and thank you for audience, Americans and Korean Americans and Koreans in the States. I really enjoyed, talking with Kathleen. And Gyeonggi Province, as the largest province of Korea, is I bet is the ideal partner for the states to cooperate and to work together, in the future. So thank you again, and hope to talk again soon.
Thank you for hosting us here. It's a beautiful province. Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you.